The weekend is here, and like always, our law firm will be answering phone calls over the weekend from individuals and families seeking to have their loved one released from state custody and asking us if we can help with it. And in most situations, we have to tell people that we're unable to do that because they are serving a state sentence and the sentence exceeds 2 years. So you have to understand that where a person is sentenced by a judge and the maximum sentence, I'm not talking about the minimum sentence, so I'll give you an example. Where a person is sentenced for a crime of, say, aggravated assault, and they received a sentence of, say, 1.5 to 3 years. Well, that is a state sentence. So the minimum date would be 1.5 years, 18 months. Now, I'm not talking about other credit they may receive for time spent in county jail, but let's assume for a second the 18-month period is their minimum date. That is the point in time where the parole board's jurisdiction kicks in. So the court sentences a person, but with regards to release at the minimum date, that becomes the jurisdiction of the parole board, and the court doesn't have the power to change that once it orders that sentence. So you have to understand that if you're asking us to file a motion to lift a parole detainer, number one, we can't do that because whether or not a detainer is lifted is the parole board's jurisdiction, not the court's. Secondly, if you're asking us to in some way ask the court to accelerate that minimum date, or the minimum date has passed and the person is not being paroled for some reason, they haven't completed a program or something else is happening, again, we can't help you with that because the parole board handles all those matters, and the courts do not have jurisdiction over the state sentences when it comes to sentences that exceed 2 years. That's just the law. I know it doesn't sound fair, but unfortunately, we can't help you with that. Now, there are situations where we can help, where a person is serving, for instance, a county sentence, where the judge orders something like 11 to 23 months of incarceration, followed by probation, or some lesser sentence. Where it's a county sentence and the person is not ordered to state prison, well, there we can do something. We can file a motion with the court. We can ask the court to lift detainers. We can ask the court to consider immediate parole for some other extraordinary circumstances like the COVID outbreak or the person's having a health problem of some sort. We can do all that. But state sentences are a lot different. And that's why frequently I tell clients when we're talking about the decision to move on to trial, we weigh a lot of factors. Obviously, we speak to the person about culpability, whether or not they're responsible for this and what the possible defenses are. In addition, we weigh the probability of success. If we believe that the case obviously has a strong probability, well, obviously, we're going to take a harder look at trial and consider our options there. But if we're considering a non-trial disposition, a plea of some sort, whether it be an open plea or a negotiated plea, and I've done videos of blogs and articles on all these topics. I will link in a few here with this video, but you have to understand that when it comes to looking at a possible sentence, don't just disregard if your attorney tells you, well, you're facing a state sentence, but you have to understand that whenever you're sent to state prison, the court's going to lose control of your ability to be paroled. The parole board's going to do all that. And a lot can happen in state prison with regards to completing programs, and sometimes programs aren't offered, and things can be delayed. And there isn't much, if anything, your criminal defense lawyer can do for you. So if you have questions about parole or probation violations or lifting detainers, I'm more than happy to answer them. But just please understand that we want to help everybody, but obviously, if we can't help you, we're going to tell you that. Some attorneys, again, talk about, well, it's always possible. I don't work that way. It isn't right. It isn't fair to you as the client or the person who's serving that sentence. So if you have questions, please give us a call, 215-755-9000, or you may email me directly at alfonso@gambonelaw.com. again, I'm hoping that you're all doing well, staying safe, keeping social distance, wearing your face mask, and I will talk to you all soon. Have a great weekend.